Good afternoon and welcome. We still have some folks arriving, and when we get busy in the summer, I see someone wiggling. We do the West Tisbury wiggle, which is kind of wiggle yourself into the center of the pew to make room on each end. So if you have a lot of room in the middle of your pew, you could move into the center. So good afternoon. We gather here today to remember and celebrate the life of Olive Tomlinson. And I welcome you to the First Congregational Church of West Tisbury, Olive's church home. It is fitting that we celebrate Olive here in the sanctuary and in the churchyard. How many summer days, just like this, could Olive be found out in the churchyard, staffing the jewelry table at yet another fruit festival, enlisting her friends to help, and chatting up all the visitors? The social butterfly in her loved every minute of it. Our service today will be a celebration of Olive, her remarkable, joyful, and spunky life. Through songs and stories, we will draw close to her again and honor her wit, her brilliance, her loyalty and devotion, and her generosity. It is my hope that the myriad stories told today will strengthen your connection to Olive's impactful life. Today, we will remember Olive's deep roots in the Highlands neighborhood and with the Shearer family. We will imagine Olive coming of age during some of the most significant years of the civil rights movement. We will see Olive and Joe raising their boys, summering on the vineyard just as she did as a child. We will honor Olive as an educator and an artist. And we will cherish Olive as a beloved member of the Martha's Vineyard community. We will give thanks for the ways she supported a variety of service and educational institutions on the island, from the Martha's Vineyard Museum to Sheriff's Meadow to Meals on Wheels to this church. And we will take time to treasure her friendship, the laughs, the meals, the tennis playing, the porch sitting. As you listen, I invite you to consider what trait of Olive's you might seek to amplify in your own life? What have you missed most about Olive? What image of Olive comes to mind most often? Throughout this time together, we also further the process of healing, finding those spots where our grief lingers, speaking those words of love that we've longed to share, and taking the time to give thanks. Thanks for a life that touched and filled our own. Please join me in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of love and of life, We gather here this day to remember Olive and the way her life touched our own. In the presence of her memory, her spirit still touches our lives. So let us open our hearts now in thanksgiving. Thankful for the life we shared, thankful for her love and care. Let us open our hearts with gratitude for all she has given to us. And let that gratitude spill over any loss that we may feel. Awaken us to the precious life breath that still courses through us. May our gratitude for the gift of life be a source of strength for the work of forgiveness, reconciliation, and peace that may come our way. In the quiet of our lives, may we return again and again to these treasured memories. And in our living, may we experience a renewed sense of kindness and care, of gentle love and compassion for those who fill our lives. Amen. So I invite you now to join in singing our first hymn. It is called For All the Saints. It's a wonderful organ hymn, and I invite you to stand to sing this. And we're just singing verses 1, 3, and 5, and it's number 637 in your hymnal. I offer now two scripture readings that the family and I selected for Olive. Both bring her spirit to mind. The first from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And from the Gospel of Matthew, from the 5th chapter, verses 1 through 10. Now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him and he began to teach them. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will show mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." This is the word of God for the people of God. We are going to begin our reflections this morning with those from Charlotte Skrobe.
Thank you for having me speak.
Of course.
Hi, my name is Charlotte, and I'm part of Olive's New York clan. I have known Olive for 70 years. Both our families were living in the Bronx and moved to Queens our senior year of high school. Neither of us wanted to change high school, so we took the subway to the Bronx every morning, sitting in the first car. We never spoke. Olive was the most popular girl in the graduating class, a cheerleader, and I was artsy-fartsy. Forward 5 years. Out of college, I'm in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, at a fiesta. Across the field, I see someone who looks familiar to me, and I start walking towards her. She starts walking towards me. We point at each other and say, "Taft," at high school. So begins our long friendship. We both lived in Manhattan. Olive was on 9th Street. I was on 13th Street in the East Village. Next stop, Brooklyn. We both ended up in Park Slope. I was 4 blocks away from Olive. For many years, our families would get together on Sundays for what Olive would call a rubber dinner. Do you remember that, John? I think what that was meat, a protein, a starch, and a veggie. Then a few years later, we started spending July together on Shelter Island in New York. This was the early 70s. Imagine a black family sharing a house with a Jewish family, who then adopted a Korean child. Joe and I met with a realtor who assumed we were a couple, but we said, no, there's a Mrs. Tomlinson and there's a Mr. Skrobe. We continued this tradition for many years. We spent many a Christmas Eve together in Brooklyn. Our friendship continued, and once Olive retired to the Vineyard, I would visit her every summer. In recent years, I traveled to the Vineyard with John, Chinois, and Forrest to visit Olive and Peter. In 2018, I adopted my dog, Gracie, who would join me on the trips to Martha's Vineyard. After that, when I would speak to Olive on the phone, she wouldn't ask how I was doing. She said, "How's that puppy?" As you all know, Olive was a talker, funny, and one of a kind. Okay. I will miss her laughter, her humor, and her quirkiness.
Well, good afternoon. I am truly honored to have been asked by Olive's family to share my memories of growing up with Olive on Martha's Vineyard. Thank you, John and Peter. Certainly, this is a sad time for all of us, and it's okay to cry. Olive's sharp wit, keen intelligence, spontaneous sense of humor, and classic style will be sorely missed. As my daughter Lauren said, Olive was a petite woman with a huge sparkle. We must be thankful for the many joyous memories that we have because Olive has been in our lives. Think of your favorite memories of Olive, and I will share with you some of mine. My fondest memories of Olive were from my childhood. We were family, not by blood, but in every other possible way, by love, personal relationships, closeness, kinship, just to mention a few common bonds. Olive was always present and involved in Shearer family events, which would not have been the same without her. Olive was the godchild of my aunt, Miriam Walker. As a child, Olive spent her summers on the island in a large summer cottage owned by both my mom, Doris Pope Jackson, and my aunt, Miriam Walker. Later, as a teenager, Olive would stay with Aunt Miriam and help care for cousin Joanne. Olive, my sister Gail, and I were always together as children, along with our cousin, Eddie Rice. We were inseparable. I was the tag-along younger sister. Sometimes I was welcome to join the day's activities, sometimes not. A typical day for us was to go to Shearer Cottage, our family's historic inn, say hi to Aunt Sadie, visit with other family members, and have leftover dessert. Then we would head downtown. We would go to the Flying Horses and try to catch the brass ring to get a free ride. We would also stop at the adjacent penny candy store for some goodies. On a sunny day, we might go to Ocean Park with small boats to sail in the pond. On our way home, we would pass Church's Pier with rowboats pulled up along the shore, waiting for their owners to take them for a ride. At that time, there were no pleasure yachts in the harbor. Sometimes we were treated to paddle boat rides in Sunset Lake. Often we would go to one of the island's glorious beaches with our families to swim. And how lucky we were as children. Did you know that Gail and Olive performed singing and dance routines for our family and close relatives on a regular basis? They actually had stage names, Cookie and Candy. Unfortunately, I don't remember which one was which, but I can take an educated guesses. I'm sure you can too. As all members of our family during the summer, Olive worked at Shearer Cottage as a teenager, waiting on tables with my sister Gail, as well as serving as the inn's chambermaid. Olive and Gail had an eclectic group of teenage friends on the island, some from Boston, New York, New Jersey, D.C., as well as some islanders. Names that come to mind are brothers Jimmy and Peter Pop Maurice, Arthur Lee, Jocelyn Garland, Joyce Jackson, and Grace Fry. Sometimes they would get ice cream sodas at Fred's Rexall drugstore, where Reliable Market is now located. Sometimes they would go to Captain's Table, now a bike shop, for a late night snack. And sometimes they'd go to the bowling alley that was located near Church's Pier. Years later, with their young family, Olive and Joe brought a home in Oak Bluffs and spent their summers here, making more lifelong special relationships for their family. Olive greatly valued her special relationship with this church and would come to me and other good friends to carefully collect costume jewelry for their jewelry sale. One year, Olive selected several pieces from my sister Gail's costume jewelry collection for an upcoming sale. Like many of her friends, I visited Olive in the weeks before she passed. She was at peace with her life's adventures and much appreciative of the love and support from Peter, John, John's family, friends, and devoted caregivers. I have to say that I greatly admired Peter's steadfast presence in those recent years, always by her side to do what needed to be done. In closing, I'd like to give personally a special thanks to Olive and her dad, Willie Bowles. Uncle Willie's hobby was photography. He not only took great pictures of our family during the early years, he developed them and archived them as well. Olive was very protective of his work and appreciated their value. Through interviews, videos, and Uncle Willie's photography, Olive helped preserve the legacy of Shearer Summer Theater that was started in the 1940s by her mom, Olive Cutie Bowles, and my aunt, Liz Pope White. And for that, I will be forever grateful. Rest in peace and love, Olive.
know, our friend Olive loved everything. She loved life. She loved being with people. She loved laughing. And every time you saw her, she was so well appointed. She loved beauty. And she loved orderliness. Not order so much, but orderliness. You could tell that it was evidenced in her home. Everything was always so pristine. Everything was so in its place. The beautiful artwork that her mother had done over the fireplace, and the way that she presented herself to the world, always well appointed, always to a T. Oh, she was dressed oh so fine, always. She was always chromatic, hence the colors this afternoon. I'm not sure how I met Olive. We can't remember. Neither one of us could. But it seemed that we'd known each other for a very long time because we were fast friends. And we stayed that way for forever, right until the end. And one of the things that she loved so much was this church. I asked her once, what is it about the Congregational Church that you love? She said, I love the message, and I love the way I feel when I walk in that door. She loved entertaining. And any of you who have been invited to the New Year's Day event know that it was a gala event. It was well attended by all of us, and there was that wonderful thing that it was catered. You didn't want to be in the kitchen. So everything was catered, and there was always Gretchen's hopping John to make sure we went off into the year with some good luck. There were people draped here and there and everywhere. It was a wonderful thing to witness, but the highlight always was when Olive would get up on the chair next to the fireplace, and she would have a soliloquy, lots of papers, with all scratched out and scribbled and messed up altogether, that she sort of looked at. But what she gave us was a litany of everything that she had gathered over the year about those assembled. And mostly it was 3 categories: achievements, travel, and newfound body parts. And as we aged over those years on those January 1s, there were more and more body parts and less travel, and and everyone just cheered her on because she was in her element when she was in front of a crowd. One of the things that we loved about Olive was that she loved to eat, and for a long time, Tuesday nights, Abigail McGrath and Olive and I, we had dinner together, and we always partook in whatever it was that Abigail had made, and Abigail had the tendency to overfeed. So she would come to Olive's with just, help me with this in the car, she'd say. And we'd be hauling in all this stuff, enough for 40 people. And then all of us had a little appetite, very, very, very pointed, but a small appetite. So we'd have all these leftovers, and then I started cooking because Abigail said that she was going to become a vegetarian, so and she did. So we had a couple of dinners that I put together, and then Olive and I decided takeout was the best route for that. So, and she loved those Chinese barbecued ribs, so I would always go to the restaurant and bring those over to the house. And then when Diana came to help take care of Olive, Diana would join us for a moment, but she always said, no, I want you ladies to visit. For some reason, Olive always called me Tootie. I have no idea, but it always seemed that I was more sophisticated than that, but she called me Tootie. And she would say it like this, Tootie. So we're sitting there, we're having our barbecued ribs, and she's chit-chatting, and everything is going on. And then the next week, she only ate one of those ribs, and the week after that, she didn't want them anymore. And so we sat at the table, and I said to her, will you tell me about your travels in Africa? She said, sure. She slightly turned her head and looked across the kitchen, and her eyes traveled all the way across the Atlantic. And for a long, long time, she said nothing. And then she looked at me and she said, I went away, but I came back. And I knew that sojourn was evidence of the miraculous thing that we have in the human mind that allows us to be in 2 places at once. We talked a little bit more that evening, and then I would come every week, but we didn't have dinner together much after that. There was one thing more in life that she loved. She loved talking about her family. I had never met Forrest until today, but I've been hearing about him since he could fit in his father's shirt button. And I would always ask about him and Chinois, and she always had glowing things to say. But when I mentioned John's name, she would say, Jans. It was the name that Peter had for him when they were little. And those pictures on the kitchen wall always let you know just who those boys were, because they didn't change much since they were little. But when I said, and how's Peter doing? She would always say, my heart.
Yes, I have new body parts. It'll be better. Okay. So hello, all of you. Lovely to see you. I look out and I know that each one of you had a connection to Olive. She made me believe that I was the sole connection. She lied. Any one of you would take that particular place. So we're here today to celebrate that, celebrate our dear friend Olive. And I want you to know that she had names for each one of you. I don't know if she ever shared those names with you. She shared Toots and she shared Johns, but she didn't, there's some she didn't. But the overall name that she had for all of you was my. So she'd say, my Janine, my John, my Peter. And if she had a my in front of your name, you knew that that was a real solid connection for her. So I'm speaking to all of her my's. Her, my Forrest, my Peter, my Chinois, my Beth. Where is she? Where's my Beth? My Beth, right by her side, all the way through. Such a privilege and such an honor, and thank you so much. And my Diana. I mean, all those my's. So you're all my's, but in different ways. So, wait a minute. Okay, I'm not going to stop showing off. So here goes, my friends. Olive was a part of my life for over 45 years, and I can say with complete certainty there will never be another one like her. We met on the tennis court, thanks to Lee Van Allen and her sister Gail. Gail said, I have a friend who likes to play tennis, and maybe all of you could come and help her out a little bit. And that match was the beginning of our relationship. Olive was different from I was. We had a very different background. She was New York and I was Boston, which meant she was sophisticated and I was I was that. She was sharp and quick-witted. We know that. And we had very different ways that we approached things. I had a very slower serve than she did, and she took advantage of me on the court. And I let her, but she did. Okay. That's our signal. Olive and I had a signal. You'll hear about that a little later. Okay. That was called Ring Ring. From that day forward that we met, Olive and I shared many, many milestones. I know all about your children. I know all about your jobs. I know all about your hairdressers. I know everything that you told Olive. I'm sorry, but she told me. Because she could not keep it in. She just loved to talk, and it was all loving and wonderful. We cried, and we laughed, and we shared private jokes, and we had, whose phone is on? I know. I have that phone, too. I can never turn it off. We had our own language, Olive and I, and it only made sense to... Girl, what are you doing over there? That's what Olive would say. What are you doing, girl? Olive had the gift of not only talking, which was wonderful to listen to her, but she had the gift of listening. Not many people have that particular skill. They can talk a lot, but Olive could listen. And she had gifts that she would give as we were listening. And some... Girl, get that phone out of here. That's what she would say. Get out of here with that phone. Haven't left yet. Okay. Our conversations. We good? I'm sorry, sister. I didn't mean to chase you away, but she will. Our conversations always began like this. Ring, ring. Oh, God. The phone is there, and it's Olive. That was our signal. That was a signal that meant, stop everything you are doing and listen to me. Stop everything you are doing because I need to hear your voice. Ring, ring became our symbolic thing. When she would call and leave that message on my machine, oh my goodness, I couldn't get to my phone quickly enough to explain to her or ask her what was going on, why ring, ring. But ring, ring just didn't mean there's going to be a conversation. It means I have something you really need to know. I'm not going to tell you all we need to know. We had another coded phrase. Did any of you have a poo-poo with Olive? I didn't think so. I thought that was our special thing, poo-poo. I know. I'll tell you. When someone was cruel or arrogant or found themselves in a well-earned mess, Olive and I would look at them and say, poo-poo done got him. And poo-poo could have been a politician, poo-poo could have been the neighbor, poo-poo could have been anybody, but when somebody would die or do something wonderful, she said, you think poo-poo's got him yet? Well, poo-poo's gonna get him. We know that poo-poo's gonna visit Pennsylvania Avenue. We know that. We're positive. Poo-poo's gonna get him. So we don't even worry about that. And then we would decide who was poo-poo and who wasn't before they even did something horrible. Because we were the scholars of poetic justice. We were the ones that made that decision about who was poo and who was poo-poo. That was Olive. She was funny, she was smart, and in the best of ways, she was full of heart. She had that rare gift when you could laugh when you thought you... It's okay. When you thought your world was falling apart. But the story that has been a theme that has gone around is about Olive and the jewelry table. And it's interesting that a number of us are remembering that jewelry table, but I'm going to tell you my story about the jewelry table. So Olive came to this church, which she loved, and she would sell costume jewelry that she donated, got donated by her friends. She'd call on the phone, what you got? Bring me some jewelry, bring me some jewelry. Okay, Olive, I'll bring you some jewelry. So I'd go through my jewelry, and I'd come up, and she had a table set out there, and I'd put the jewelry down, and there would be a necklace, and she said, oh, no, you keep this girl, we can't sell this. I said, oh, okay. Oh, no, those earrings, you got to keep those earrings, you can't donate those. And I thought, isn't that nice? And she said, and that will be $16.95. The jewelry fair with my jewelry that I bought back from her at full price. And she would laugh and she would say, yeah, you needed those girls, you needed to have that. So when the jewelry time came up, I said, Olive, why don't you just come by the house and I'll just give you a donation. No. Bring the jewelry up here. So I always did that because it wasn't about the jewelry. You know it wasn't about the jewelry. It was for the community that she had here at the church. And it was about purpose. And it was about that glint in her eye when she was doing something good. She didn't do things halfway. She believed in showing up and speaking the truth and loving deeply. And what I will miss most is her voice. She had that New York twang down to her. And she'd say, are you coming over? I said, I'll be over. She said, in a New York minute. Well, you see, I didn't know whether that meant come right away, or come when you want to come. New York minute, you have to figure out what that meant, New York minute. Olive, you want to be a little clearer than that? No, that's it. She knew. I knew what New York minute was after a while. So I miss knowing that she was on the other end of the phone. Where is she? Here she is. She's on the other end of the phone, and she was ready to laugh and to listen and to share whatever wild, and I mean wild, thoughts and wonderful expressions that she had. decades of friendship. All of you know that, you mice. It's no small thing. It's rare, and it's sacred. And we are so lucky that we shared that with Olive. So lucky. I carry her with me in how I speak, and how I love, and how I laugh, and how I cry when I'm thinking about her, and how I look for sparkle in unexpected places. And yes, Olive, wherever you are, darling, I'm still looking out for those poo-poos. I know they're there. I will keep a record for you, and we will decide who and when poo-poo is going to get them. Look at these people, Olive. Olive is speaking to you now. Olive is so glad that each and every one of you showed up today. Olive loved you so much, for little bits of time or big pieces of time. There isn't one of you, as I look at your darling faces, that she didn't care about deeply, deeply. So she wants me, or I'm going to thank all of you for coming and giving up this beautiful day to spend some time with her. That means poo-poo ain't going to get you. So Olive, I have many more things to tell you, and I will. I stop sometimes and I said, Olive would want to know this, and so I tell her. So I don't think I've lost that. I hope you haven't either, that you could just talk to her and tell her what you need to tell her. But for now, my dearest friend, okay. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the laughter. And thank you for a lifetime of friendship. You will always be with me.
Friends, it's so important to me personally to be part of this celebration of life, to help Olive along the way on her homegoing. And I just want to share two of my own reflections. My relationship with Olive preceded being her pastor. Years before I was called to serve this church, Olive became synonymous with Martha's Vineyard for me. One winter, my husband Bill and I left New York City to move into our friend Paul Chapman's house in the Highlands neighborhood. We were in a life transition and came to the vineyard to help Bill's grandmother, who had recently been admitted to hospice. I was told by Paul that the closest friend and neighbor to turn to for anything was Olive Tomlinson. And I had been already hearing about Olive for years because Paul and I worked together. And now she was going to be my point person in a new place. Seeing her white car in her driveway or bumping into her on the road, I knew I had a friend. As hilariously funny as Olive was, she was also to me a trusted source for guidance and wisdom. And so when I became the pastor of this church, Olive was one of our church members. And during that time, right from the beginning, I viewed Olive as a mentor. Standing at the front door, shaking hands with parishioners as they left, Olive's opinion mattered deeply to me. When sermon topics were challenging or ushering in change generated friction, some poo-poo, Olive's advice and quiet cheerleading made all the difference for me. Yes, she was a hoot, but she was also brilliant, right? We know how brilliant she was. And so thinking today about her contagious joy and her piercing insight, I'm imagining that it was this combination that made her comic genius, right? It's that combination, contagious joy and piercing insight. Such a wise one. And so now, as we near the end of this service, I want to thank you all for being here today, to cherish Olive's remarkable life, and to offer and receive comfort and support from one another. Immediately following the service, John and Peter and the family welcome you to stay for a reception under the tent in the churchyard. They look forward to hearing your memories of Olive. We're also going to be running a video in the parish hall on a loop. There's some chairs in there, so do take some time to sit and visit with Olive, listen to her storytelling. The death of someone we love is the death of a part of us. No one else will ever call out from within us quite the same responses, the same feelings, actions, or ideas as Olive did for each of you. You are left with memories of Olive, and her spirit will be kept alive in the hearts of all those who loved and came to know her. Let us remember that above any accomplishments which were hers, Olive's life finally receives its greatest worth from God, who created her, sustained her, and received her life back as complete and whole. Please join me in prayer. Gracious God, you surround us all our days. We walk and work in the light of your world and sleep and dream in the gentle dark you created. When our working and dreaming are done, give us rest and a place to call home within the great city of your love. Amen. And our closing hymn is Great is Thy Faithfulness. We'll just sing the first two verses, and that's number 86 in your hymnal. Please stand if you're able. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God look upon you with kindness and peace, now and forever. Amen.
movie that came out, The Green Book. We were talking about it, and that reminded me of my Green Book story. So this is my Green Book story. I was born and raised in the Bronx, second-generation New Yorkers, and I had two dear friends. They were roommates, two men, and we were buddies. We had a wonderful time in New York City. We could go anywhere, within reason. You weren't stupid, but the west side of New York, the Upper West Side, Greenwich Village, Chinatown, we loved it. We had a great life. Went to school there, the city universities. Life was good. So the three of us were great friends. And it was a pleasure, a blessing to have two guys friends. So we just, and we lived two existences. Middle class, college grads, starting careers, intact families. That, same time, hippie, drummers, a little light drugs, Greenwich Village. So we had this wonderful dual, but that was the norm in our group. So we had an idea, I don't know who started it, let's go to Mexico. Now we had heard that there was this wonderful town in Mexico, artsy-fartsy, filled with artists and other things, and it was a great place. And because after World War II, they had started an art colony there. So it was really swinging. We said, let's go to Mexico. All righty. We were working, but I was teaching, so I had a month off. Morty he was an engineer, he took a month off. Joe, I don't know what he was doing. We were off. We get in Morty's car. He had like a Dodge, some of those big silly cars. We drive up to his mother's house in the Bronx to say goodbye. We had said goodbye to the others. We were in Morty's car. We go to the mother's house to say goodbye. And this is important. She gives us a bag of sandwiches. And she says, these cadentafleisch sandwiches will hold you on your trip. And we're laughing. Ha ha ha, cadentafleisch, who needs that? We found out later it was pot roast. Who needs that? Ha ha ha. We get in the car, we're going. We go across the Triborough Bridge. We're like an hour out of New York City. We stop to get gas, and we eat the cadentafleisch sandwiches because we're going to Mexico. What do we care? Well, sweetie, we get to southern New Jersey, and we say, oh, let's stop there. It's a nice diner. So we go up to we pull up, we go up to the diner, and they open the door in the diner a little bit and say, no, 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 this is a club. Are you a member? And they close the door. So we say, well, what's that? Get back in the car. We're through Pennsylvania, southern Pennsylvania. We go to another place. They open, I remember the blinds. They're looking through the blinds instead of like just saying, and that's it. We can't get in. We go to one more place. I don't remember anymore. Maybe Maryland. The door, wait, I remember this here's a private club. Are you all members? I remember that phrase. We're closed now. We're closed for today. That was Maryland. We finally get it. Duh. We can't go to these places to eat. And they're like roadside crummy places. So we start eating out of garages. What are those called? When you go to get gas. Gas stations, the machines. And we can get gas. So we go, now we're going to make a left turn down to Mexico, and now we're going south. And we're going south. There's nowhere we could eat. There's nowhere we could stop. We had never heard of a Green Book. There was no need for us ever to hear about a Green Book. We were New Yorkers. You could go anywhere, within reason. Oh, you had enough, you knew the lay of the land. Sadie would put us in her town car, and we would go to the turkey farm. She'd buy turkey, live turkeys, bring them home, and cook a turkey dinner. Oh, stuffings, gravy, biscuits, sweet potatoes, green beans. You wonder why she was called Cutie? Is she not the most adorable thing you ever saw? Now, thanks for inviting me, Miss Museum folks. I'm going to start with Cutie's art. There were many facets of her life, but her art was special. And not that museums are only art, because museums are the repertoire of people and everything about their life. But I'm going to do Cutie Bowl's art. And just to give you an idea, her first professional art was County Cullen. I don't know if you know him. New York poet, writer, essayist, a library named after him in Harlem. Wonderful man, a friend of the family. And he wrote a few books, but one of his books was The Lost Zoo. But he really said Christopher Cat, that kitty cat wrote it. Because it's about the animals who didn't get on the ark for different reasons. You know, one, the snake who walked upon his tail was too vain. There was a push me, pull me, two heads. They couldn't figure out which way to go. There was a squillilogy who whined all the time. And they didn't get on the ark. That's why we don't know them. So, County asked my mom, and this was 1940, to make clay figures of the animals in the book. And there were quite a few. It was her first professional job. And she made the animals for the Atlanta Museum. And they cost, there it is, that's the Lost Zoo. I have the original book, first edition, that my doggy half chewed up. But my mom was so loving and she couldn't care less, and it was no big deal. First edition, half chewed, by an animal, Lost Zoo, Lost Zoo. Now, there's one of her clay figures. That's the snake who walked upon his tail. That is, I don't know, squillilogy, I think. I think he was the whiner. Hello. Push me, pull me, two heads, perhaps. But the thing is, Atlanta Zoo, she's got the bill. They paid her $10. Did I mention that? For many pieces, many. And then they wrote her a letter, "Dear Mrs. Bowles, we love this fabric. Could you make us another set for $10? But she never did. And that was her first job. She kept the bill. She kept the letter. After that, there's no record of her art. I don't know to whom she sold things. There were scraps of paper that said, sold to that pretty girl with the red hair at the in Reliable. I have no idea. The records are just non-existent. But 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, the selling of, this is 40s. The selling of the paintings are later, no, 70s onward. No records, because she painted for joy. Raise your hand if you own a Cutie Bowles painting. Barbara's got the best. Debbie, right. You have, Barbara, you got a couple. Oh, here's one. You have any idea of the records or the pictures or how she handled it?
Yeah, she would say if she got a gold prize in the art fair,
Yeah.
she wouldn't sell it to you, but if she got, second or third, she might sell it to you.
There you go. Okay? Doesn't that make sense? So this, all right, so the
For like $50.
oh, by the way, yeah, maybe 2 for 30, maybe 2 for, all right, if you had a coupon. But that's what she, and she didn't care if she painted for joy. And, but she started painting, this is the 40s, in the 70s after she retired, which we all did. You did, I do, after you retired. Here are some examples of her paintings. She traveled, went to the Caribbean, loved those little brown children, and there they are. Barbara, you have one?
I have one of a, no, I don't have this.
Okay. Oh, no, excuse me. Right? That's gossip. Am I in your way, honey? Okay. That's, I think, acrylic. That's oil. That's oil. She loved those little girls. We call it Cafe Reggio in the Vineyard, in the village. Greenwichville. No, that's not. No, makes no difference. Yeah. Yeah. You got it. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to. Excuse me. I'm sorry. This one, I asked an old vineyarder, a Betancourt, Nelson, I think. I said, I have a photo, black and white photo my father took of this, and then Mother painted it. So I took the photo to Nelson, and I said, Nelson, do you know this lady? Because I remember going to her farm, I use the word loosely, to buy flowers. I didn't buy flowers. The family bought flowers, and we used to go once a week. And Nelson looked at the black and white photo that looks just like that and said, that's, oh, I forgot, potato heads? Turnip head's mother. That's turnip head's mother. And that's who that is, okay? And there she is, right? Turnip head's mother. Didn't you know that? Can't you look at her and say, who is that? Okay, this is I love, love, love. Yeah, that triad. That. This is strange. I have this in my closet. Deborah Dixon saw it and said, that's mine. She says, I had it hanging in my children's room, in my baby room for years. Somehow it ended up with me. I have no idea why. And Deborah pointed out that it's unfinished in the top left, which I have never noticed. And but I'm not giving it back to her. I don't care what she says. So that's Deborah's. It's called jazz, I think. Yes? Modern jazz or something, yeah. Ah, this belongs to Deborah. I'll tell you who she is, but she owns this, the flute player. I love it, yeah. Looks like my grandfather. Deborah looks like my grandfather. Hezekiah. Ah, the nuns. Yeah, Nate put this up, yep. Can you see how many are there? The first kiss. All in the 70s. Oh, the flowers, yeah. Oh, this is a bar scene, yeah. That's not Cafe Reggio. Yes, definitely, yeah. Ah, my favorite. Yeah. Buck and wing. That's a dance step, tap dance step. Watercolor.
How big is that painting?
I don't know how big is it.
14 and a half by 19.
Talk that talk. That's why she's a curator and I am not. Yes. Okay. Okay. St. Thomas from the Hill at night. And there is a St. Thomas from the Hill at day, right? Where is that, honey? Nate? Oh, you have it? You own it. Oh, it's yours. You have both. Okay. St. Thomas. Oh, there's the day. Oh, there's St. Thomas. The Hill. There it is. You can see? Okay. Oh, I love this. Bronx scene with the fire escapes. Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore. And we're in big trouble. We haven't had a meal since the Cadenta Fleisch. So we're in Texarkana, Arkansas, and the car. It was a DeSoto or a Buick, something that you don't want now, starts making noises. So we get a little nervous. What are we going to do? So we get into the main street of Texarkana, Arkansas, and we decide the sweet girl, will do the talking. Because Morty had a big mustache, red hair. Joe had a bigger mustache, dark hair. Joe was he was 6'2". They were to be reckoned with. So they don't bring them out. I go in with my 98-pound self. I go into a diner on Main Street, Texarkana, and I open the door. The diner's filled, and they all turn and stare at me. But I can handle this. And I say, excuse me, we're driving from New York. I don't think I said that. No, we're driving. We're going to Mexico, and our car is making really bad noises. Do you know where there's a garage? Oh, I say to sitting at the counter, the sheriff with the gun and the hat and the hauler cap. And he looks at me, he swivels his very thick neck, his mouth is agape, and he stares at me, and I say it again. I said, excuse me, our car, we need a garage. We don't know where to go. Can you help us? Third time, and the room is silent, and they're staring at me. And Joe and Morty are outside, thank gosh. And he looks at me and he says, the sheriff says, oh, you all want the colored motel. I say, fine, yes, if that's what you say, yes. Well, it clicks. He gets up, we go outside, and then he sees Morty and Joe. Duh. The sheriff calls the colored motel. The car can drive, but it's shaky. They come, the owner of the motel comes, we all go off to the colored motel. Goodbye, Sheriff. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sadie would put us in her town car, and we would go to the turkey farm. She'd buy turkey, live turkeys, bring them home, and cook a turkey dinner. Oh, stuffings, gravy, biscuits, sweet potatoes, green beans. Then there's a cultural. Now, this is, my father took this again, bless his heart. Dorothy West, whom you know in our island, we love her, our island writer. This was one of her first books. Okay, there she is, it says at the top. Now, I'm going to point again. Dorothy West is here, okay? Signing her books, you got it. Cutie's there, front center, right? Now, the plot thickens because behind Cutie, Liz White, Elizabeth White enters the picture. Liz White, Cutie Bowles, Miriam Walker, well, you'll meet her later, this triad, they started the Shearer Summer Theater. And Liz White is Debbie's grandmother. And she's the, all right? And that's the story, okay? So there's this like cultural thing, this political thing, this social thing. You get the picture? That was her. And she lived them all very nicely. So when Liz enters, it's a new phase in her life. From the 40s here on the Vineyard, and New York also, but 40s here, Liz got her family and friends to get together. And Liz said, I've got an idea. Let's have a theater. Let's put on a show. Mickey Rooney, Judy Hart, let's put on a show. You got $50? Chip in. And I'll give you a part. And that's what they did. They began, and all the black and white photos, when you go inside, you'll see them. Those are Willie's pictures. Willie did the photography. Cutie and another woman did some of the costumes, not all, some. And my father was the builder, the set builder. And from the 40s to the 60s, they did 10 to 12 plays here in Oak Bluffs, and a few in Vineyard Haven at the theaters. Not the theaters, the schools. The school. No, there was no playhouse. It was a school auditorium. That's where they did them. And, The motel is run by a man called Mr. Pookrum. Mr. Pookrum is the #1 man in the town. He's got this motel. He is so charming, so loving, so protective of these smarty pants from New York City. He takes us into his motel. We're sharing a room. I get the cot. We haven't eaten since the Kadentafleisch. He fixes us a meal. I can still taste that meal. He fries that chicken, has the greens, the cornbread, the sweet potatoes. He's got that. That's every Wednesday. They always have it. And what, Tuesday? We got it. We had the best meal in our life. We sit down and he tells us, while the car's being fixed, he tells us all about the town, the workings of the town, and what's going on, and we're in the right place with him, and we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. We go to sleep, The next day, midday, the car is fixed. We're set. We go off. We continue south, 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 south. We're going to Mexico. All right, now, Liz was not only a producer, director, aunt, wonderful woman, she also wrote a play, many plays. She wrote this play. This is a play, from a play. The name of that play is Cooling Waters. Lee was too little. She was always too little, yeah, because she's younger than me. I paid no attention to this play because it was about slavery. And I didn't want to have anything to do with slavery. So I don't know who, what, but it was a cast of thousands. There were many, many people in it. I meet people in Reliable. I was in Cooling Waters. Okay, good, good. Okay. Jessica Harris was in it. She could sing a whole song from it. There was the cakewalk. There was dancing. No, you were too little. Who would remember? Debbie, you were too little. All right. You were.
As I say, she redid it.
Oh.
Porch at Twin Cottage.
Okay.
Around 1963.
Okay, this is earlier.
So this is the original one that she.
Yes, it was.
Wrote it,
Right.
And she decided.
She did another one?
Again, 20 years later.
I had gotten married 63.
Right,
What?
yeah, you
No,
don't know
no, don't remember.
But
No.
I was in it, and I played that same part, and I don't know what the play was in.
Okay. All right. All right. And you're living with the director, writer, brother. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is a fun one. If men played cards as women do. That was the name of it. So you can imagine what it was. I can't. All right. Oh, Liz's uncle, Lincoln Pope. He was a wonderful brother. Handsome, fun. Oh, just a treat. Okay, rehearsing on the beach. Leon Van Hatten, back. Gloria Pope, who went on to marry Lincoln Pope, Aunt Liz's brother. Okay, Gloria Downing then. Okay, Downing then. She came. That's the year she came to the island, and they hooked up. Aha! I saw it. They are making scenery. I don't know how they did this. I don't know how they scenery. And I know how they did it. Aunt Liz said, make that scenery. Yes, right? And you did it. That's how they did it. Okay, here's the old Twin. This was Twin before us, before Liz bought it. The original, owned by, quote, the sea captain for his two daughters. Okay? Double house. And this was a perfect house because, I forgot why. Why? Because it had wraparound porch. It's on a rise. It's high. It's kind of up. It's up. She lived, right. No, she did. A double house connected by a porch in the front and a hall upstairs. Double. 2 stories. Tower. It's up. It has many windows. Many doors. Many doors. And so it's so perfect. Aunt Liz decides, wait a minute, I'm going to do a play, one more play. I'm going to do Othello. It should be a piece of cake. I could do Othello. And she did it on that house, in that house, on the porch, with people in and out, coming out of windows, coming down the steps, coming around, and it made so much sense because like Othello would come through a door and say, I just came in from the ocean and here I am, I've won my wars and here I am. It was much better than having a big cardboard boat. You know, so you just could believe it. This Victorian, well, more than that. We crossed the border at Monterey. Monterey, then, this is 61-ish. Then it was a Mexico lovely town. We go into Monterey, we cross the border, we're on Main Street, Monterey, we go into a restaurant, we have, the little boys are outside looking at this, whatever it was, DeSoto, I don't remember what it was, this big car. We say to them, watch the car, si senor, we call them Huachicaros. The Huachicaros are out there watching our car. We go into a restaurant, Main Street, Monterey, where we finally are home, where we are welcomed. We had a Mexican chicken soup. with touch of cilantro, touch of lemon drops. To this day, I put lemon drops in my chicken soup. It was heaven. We were home. And that was Mexico for us. So that was, she decides, I'm going to do a play. It's in Highlands of Oak Bluffs. It's in East, well, it's knocked down. I don't want to talk about it. It makes us sad. We don't talk about it, okay? So it's not there, but the spot is there. It's there. It's up the road from all of us. Twin Cottage. Huh? What? Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, please.
You said that was originally built by
The captain, the sea captain for his twin daughters, yeah.
is that the, what do they call the Widow's Walk or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was the Widow's Walk.
Widow's Walk, yeah, okay,
You
yeah.
could see the ocean from it.
Yeah, oh, I remember. We used to go up to the tower. You could see it, but you can't in the last 20 years, the trees are too tall. You can't see it. But 20 years ago, you could see it, but it's been torn down. So that it doesn't exist anymore. So we don't talk about it. And we saw it, we're sad. But it was, and there were no trees. When we had it, when you had it, there were no trees in the front. So on Liz did Othello. The actors were on the porch, in and out. The audience sat on the lawn in chairs there, in the front of the house. I don't know how they did it. And we did it. I didn't do diddly. But, and, okay, my mom was Iago's wife. Amelia? Iago's wife. The maid, the feisty maid. Debbie's mom, the beauty, was Desdemona. Debbie's father was Iago. Okay? And it was well received. We loved it. However, you didn't ask who Othello. Othello was Yaphet Kotto. Oh, some of you know that name. Okay. Yaphet Kotto was Othello. And at that time, he was in his 20s. Yeah, in his 20s. And Liz said, I'm going to film it. We've had 2 performances. It's wonderful. So she started filming on 13 cents. I mean, she had no money. She hadn't mortgaged twin yet. She starts filming, and Yaphet Kotto gets the call, the professional call, we are going to put you in television. You're going to be in Homicide. You're going to be in movies. And he leaves in the middle of Othello. Does that stop Liz White? No. She said, I'll keep on keeping on. So she went on the floor and got the cut pieces, and she spliced, and she put things together. I don't know. And she emphasized Iago, which made sense, because Iago's a very interesting character. And so she emphasized Iago, and she, quote, finished the movie. And we've seen it. It's a labor of love. That's what I'm saying. That's like you're looking at a carriage and it's an ugly baby. Oh, look at that baby. Well, it's a labor of love. We love it, we love it, we love it. But it's a labor. It's how they did it, but they did it. They did it. And it was shown at, the last showing was at Union Chapel.
You can see some of it in the exhibit. There's some.
Oh, yeah, we got to go inside and see. You're going to see it live, parts of it.
There's pieces of the film.
Yeah, okay. It's great, okay? It's wonderful to see. So that's it. Debbie's mother, Audrey. My mother screaming, the Moor has killed my mistress. And that's our Othello. There's Cutie Balls. So, let's see some plays. Wait. Shearer. So Shearer Summer Theater. There's Shearer Cottage. Is anyone here manager of Shearer Cottage now? Oh, okay. Oh, 2, okay. Emily, yes, Emily. And Liz, okay. Does it look good, honey? Okay, all right, thank you, okay. Now, this is the Shearer Summer Theater cadre, yeah, but this is the nucleus, all right?
Miriam's not in there.
Not yet, not yet. Miriam's not in this one, no. This is a publicity my father took for the people. This is, I love his name. You're going to see him a lot. Leon Van Hatten on the left. The plot thins. My cousin, Olive Camille. My mother, Olive Evelyn. Uncle Lincoln. Now here comes the male, the matinee idol male. Uncle Lincoln Pope and his sister Liz White. Lincoln and Liz are siblings. Okay? There's going to be a test after you pay attention. All right, now. Right? Okay. Her great uncle, her grandmother. Okay, you got it? Okay. This is the first play they did. I don't know if you can read it. It says The Women. It was done in New York City. And who knew? I was 7-ish, 8. I don't know how old I am. I was in it. They did it in Forest Avenue in the Bronx. Forest Avenue Playhouse, they did it. And so Liz said, oh, it was so wonderful. The women were so good. I've got an idea. Let's do it forever on the Vineyard. Let's drive people crazy. There it is. That's me in The Women. How old am I? I don't know how old I am. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how old. Yes, that's my tongue. Now, if you've ever seen the movie, everyone in The Women, they're like, they talk like this. And the lady whose husband is running off with somebody else, that's the whole story. She's saying, oh, he's running off. Lizzie didn't direct it like that. And this mime part is Little Mary. In the movie, Little Mary is like, oh, my mother's unhappy, I'm unhappy. Lizzie didn't do on Insipid. Lizzie didn't do anything like that. So we were pretty cutting edge. That's the hence ergo, hence the tongue, okay? There'll be no insipid little, oh, my husband ran off with. Okay. So and that's my mother in the middle. Always playing the feisty maid. Okay? Never submissive, feisty, okay. A new play on the Vineyard. The play is called Lysistrata. I know you all know your Greek tragedies. I know you know your Greek. So, I love those costumes. Oh, here's Miriam Walker, the triad. My mother, Cutie Bowles. Miriam Walker, and you've met Liz White. She'll appear again. My mother played flirtatious somebody, whatever part. Feisty, flirtatious. Miriam, next to her, always played the Joan Crawford role, the heavy. All right? I mean, not heavy, but not heavy. But she was heavy. Wait a minute, she was heavy in our life, though. She ran a tight ship, Miriam. So that's Miriam. And this Lysistrata, I know you know this story. Smart move. Women withhold sex from the husbands until they stop warring. How's that for an idea? Okay, and that's the core of Lysistrata. Now you're going to see him again, Van Hatten. You'll see him again. Next, Slab Town Convention, a play about, and there's a theme here: the women taking over Lysistrata. This theme is the same. The women, church women in a Southern church, taking over the church. They're not going to listen to that minister no more. Triple negative. Never going to listen to that minister no more. And all right, don't tell us what to do. So those are the ladies in Slab Town Convention. The costumes are glorious. There used to be auctions here. I have no idea on the Vineyard, and that's where they got some. And knowing Liz, she got these dresses and said, wait, I need a play to fit. Right? I know her. And it worked, okay? Look at that. Again, Liz. Okay, here's Liz. Liz is here. Yep. That's Liz's stepdaughter, Marilyn, and Cutie. And that's Marion Minus. You don't remember. Okay. Slab Town. Okay.